Wonder what that is. Let's check it out. Alright, hey there guys. So, now that I found you, let's start on my next Herpen tip. I'm not on the frame. Herpen tips and tricks video. So on this one, I'll give you guys tips on Herpen, some apps that I use, and some other tips that you'll find useful if you want to go Herpen. So, once I'm inside, I'll tell you more about it. Alright, so now in this episode of Herpen Tips and Tricks, we're talking about herping, the basics, and a few tips that I want to tell you guys. So now you may ask, what is herping? And how do you do it? So let's answer the first question. The first question is, what is herping? Well, that's the activity of going out and looking for reptiles and amphibians, collectively known as herps. It's kind of a weird name, but it's what we got to work with. So now let's go into the question of how I go herping, how I find these animals, what I'm looking for, and all of that. So you might think that herping is really easy, that all you gotta do is go out for a hike and, well, you'll find something. But it's not really that easy. To be honest, I actually use a 4-step method on how to herp, and ignore my dog. But in this video, that's what I'll be talking about. So let's get on to step 1. It's a pretty basic step. You gotta figure out what herps are in your area. So whether that be your state, your county, even your town, and what kind of habitat each herp likes. So first off, go into your favorite search engine. Mine's usually Google. And then from there, look up your state. So for example, New Jersey, and then herps. So for example, it would be New Jersey herps. Don't let it autocorrect to herpes, that's a whole nother thing. So once you get there, you should have a few government-issued websites or maybe some hobbyist-issued websites where you'll see all the herps in your area. So here is the New Jersey herps on the New Jersey Fish and Wildlife. So all the way over here, you can see all the herps that in habitat New Jersey. And if you click on each one, like we'll click on the let's click on the black rat snake. And, oh, see? It inhabits all of New Jersey, pretty much. So now let's instead flip over to the queen snake. I've never found one of those. Well, those guys are actually possibly extinct in the state. So, as you can see here, it shows you all the herps that are in your state, where to find them, and in the queen snake area, they might not even be here anymore. Alright, so now let's get on to step 2, choosing your target species or species. So here, what you need to do is find a species or species that you want to go looking for on your hike. So let's say my target species is a black rat snake. So what I'm going to try and do is try and find its habitat, its habits, and what it looks like. Here on the pages that I was saying before where you researched the herps in your area, I have the black rat snake, and it talks about its habit and what it looks like. Its key features, as they say. It also talks about where they are located in the state of New Jersey. But now you're also going to want to do a little research on the danger of your species, because you can't go catching a timber rattlesnake or any species of rattlesnake the same way you catch a garter snake. That'll have some bad consequences. So you want to know the danger of your species, if it's venomous, if it's endangered as well, because then you don't want to remove it. So, but now what if you don't have a target species? What if you're like, oh, I want to catch all these animals? Well, I'll talk about that in a little bit, and stay tuned for that. Let's start on step 3. Now, step 3 has 2 parts, 3A and 3B. Alright, so let's get started with 3A. So for 3A, what you're going to want to do is either download this app, I Naturalist, or go to their website, which is in the description below. So now you may be asking, what is I Naturalist? Well, I Naturalist, according to them, is an online social networking device that allows for people all across the world to figure out what organisms are. So now, let's say you come across a weird looking plant and you're like, hey, what's that? Well, what you do is you take a picture and you upload it to this website or this page. And from there, it goes to a crowdsourcing group, which could be me, could be hundreds of other people, thousands of other people that'll look at your photo and say, do I know what that is? And now some people will say, yes, I know what that is. And they'll write a suggestion about what the species is. Other people might not know and not write a suggestion. But through that, we get the process of elimination from like, oh, two people said this and one person said that. So you get to know what that species is. So now, this is a great website for a lot of herpers because some people might walk across Eastern box turtle and say, hey, what's that? Snap a picture, put it up to iNaturalist. And when it's on iNaturalist, it also has a location. So from there, you can go to the Explore tab down at the bottom and go to their Explore page. So now it'll open you up with this map and you'll have a bunch of these dots. But all these dots are saying different things. They could be plants, insects, animals, but how do you pinpoint which ones you want? So let's go back to the Eastern box turtle. And I want to find an Eastern box turtle. So at the top, they should have a search bar. And in that search bar, you're going to write Eastern box turtle. And from there, it'll filter out all the other dots except for the ones that hold an Eastern box turtle. And now this is really helpful because while yes, you may know, oh, this habitat looks great for an Eastern box turtle, they might not be there, but they might be there. And iNaturalist will tell you if they have ever been spotted there before. So now let's say you can't find your species on iNaturalist, which I haven't come across a case like that, but it is possible. The other way is now because in step 2, you did research on your target species, you know their preferred habitat. So you can go onto Google Maps, go onto the satellite page, and from there you can look at all the habitats in your area that are open to the public for hiking and all that. And from there, you can see the habitat from a satellite, and you can say, oh, this looks good for an Eastern box turtle, a rat snake, or whatever you may be looking for. So if you can't find your species on iNaturalist, go to Google Maps, put satellite, and then you can zoom out and you can look all across your area looking for the perfect habitat for your target species. So now that you either found places where your target species were found or great habitat that might house them, let's go on to step 4. Step 4 involves another app or website. This app is AllTrails. Now, this is a great app, not just for herpers, but people who like hiking, biking, dog walking, because it has all these trails that are either accessible only by hiking, biking, or whatever they may be, and they're all held in this website. So let me talk a little bit more of how AllTrails relates to herping. So you go into the AllTrails map, and from there you have, once again, a lot of points. And all these points, instead of animals or organisms, these are all trail spots. So you can zoom out, you can click on them and find all these trails. So now what you're going to do is you're going to connect your 2 points. Your point A, which was from step 3A or 3B, whether it be a place where your target species was found or a great habitat for them. And now you're going to look for hiking areas near there or maybe even right in there, which will help you find these species. So you might be saying, oh, an Eastern box turtle was found in this area. Oh, there's a trail I had right here. So I'm going to go on this trail and maybe I'll find an Eastern box turtle on it. So now this AllTrails is also great for another reason. It says how long the hike is. So let's say you're a started herper and you don't want to go too far, or you can only walk 3 miles or say. Well, then this trail will say, oh, it's a loop and it's only 3 miles long. Great, that's perfect for me. But let's say you're more of an avid hiker, biker, or whatever you may be, an avid herper even, then you might say, oh, this trail is 10 miles, easy, I'll go on it, and it has all these different habitats and all these species. So I'll choose that one rather than a 3-mile hike that I'll do in seconds. So AllTrails is a great way to connect the species and the area you found it to hiking in that area. So now I'm going to circle back to what I said before. What if you don't have a target species? Well, that makes it a lot easier. Instead of going through all those steps in that order, you do a different order. You start with all trails. So you find a hike that you'd like. You find your perfect distance, how hard it is, how much elevation change you want, and all that. And then from there, you know the area where the hike is, where it's going through. Then you go to I Naturalist. And now instead of searching for your target species in the Explore tab, you're going to search for either reptiles or amphibians, or both in 2 separate searches. So from here, now all the points are not just going to be of 1 species or 1,000 species. It's just going to be all the species of reptiles or all the species of amphibians, depending on what you searched on. So this is great because now that I know, oh, I wanted to go on this trail, what do you think I'll find on there? So you go to iNaturalist, you look it up, and there you have what you might find. And then from there, you have all these species. Now you might want to do a little research on them. So you know at least the basics for each in case you come across them. Because as I said before, if you come across a rattlesnake and you go and try and catch it like a garter snake, that's not going to turn out so well. Alright guys, thank you for watching this How to Herp video. And if you liked this video, please don't forget to hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. And if you have any comments for me, write them down in the comment section. So, once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next Wednesday on my next video.